to the Gaming Coop, the best space to talk about boo. Let's introduce today's players. Player 1, Caesar Greek Cobb chicken. No matter what salad it is, he'll toss it. It's Anthony.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
Oh, no. Stop the show. Stop the show. That's enough of that.
Player 2. I've actually never heard of this game, so it'll be a treat to learn about it from him. It's Walsh.
Yay.
Wow.
Player 3. Hey. It's Matt. Player 4. Our next guest is sweeter than a Subway cookie witch on honey oat bread and 10,000 times cuter. It's Kelsey.
Why do you give my husband things to write about me?
Player 5. This gamer really knows how to mic your Ike, but only if you let him. We're all about consent here at Team KS Productions. It's Chris. And
Wow.
Player 6 constantly has a suit of armor hunting him for sport. It's Gabe.
Oh my god, yes, please.
Take me!
Envelop me in your armor. Alright, welcome everyone to the second Halloween spooky October edition of the Gaming Coop. Today's theme. Yes, thank you. Today's theme is games that scare you. Alright? Games that have scared you. Alright? And yes, there are going to be some games that have horror vibes to them, but there's also just going to be games that just straight up fucked with us even if they weren't meant to be scary, and that's what I'm very much looking forward to this episode about. But before we do that, we're gonna get into a real spooky game out of the gate. All right, well actually, but even before we do that, do we want to do reactions now to the song, or we'll wait till the mid segment before we do that? Just want to ask for because we did say that we were gonna give our reactions to the song.
Let's do it now. Why not?
Yeah, I feel like that makes the most sense.
Yeah. All right. So if those who listened to the last episode know, we made a song using various noises that came out of our orifices. All right.
Wow.
And
I don't know about that.
Please stop.
Like we said things.
My god.
And so, I'm curious what everyone's reaction was to the final product. You could go back to the first episode, or not the first episode, the last episode, to hear that song.
I'm probably gonna throw it on our YouTube channel in a little bit.
Yeah, that would be great. But how did everyone think the song came out?
So, just straight up, my favorite thing ever is the fact that Matt got sabotaged. That was my favorite part of the entire song.
That was fun.
I am the composer of this song.
Yep.
Love that. That was the best. But overall, I thought it was incredible, and it was one of my favorite mid-segs. Really well done.
That beat
actually haven't
slaps.
listened to it yet.
Oh my god. Gabe.
Fair. That's fair.
I just forgot to.
It came out much better than I thought it was ever going to come out as, and I thought it had a good beat to it. It actually got stuck in my head, which is a very good sign for a song. Whether that's considered annoying or very good, you decide, I guess. But I thought it was phenomenal. I felt like everyone had a good part in it. You know, it's good.
What did I sound like?
You'll
just have to go.
Oh,
listen.
you need to listen to it.
Okay, I'm afraid.
you don't have to if you're worried. You don't have to if you're worried. But no, it was a great time.
Let me put it like this for Gabe. Gabe, after you know how I had you guys react to the song before even listening to it, and then you were like, "Man, I really like the part where I died in the middle." I made sure that happened halfway through the song. Oh my god. I believe you quite literally say like, "Oh my god, I'm dead." Like halfway through the
song. Anthony, really impressive raindrop noises.
Okay, that's what I just was gonna say. It absolutely broke Anthony when Walsh said to us, like Anthony makes some of those choices, nobody heard anything, and then Anthony, and then all those emojis of the rain. Anthony, like, I thought he was going to go to the other side. He absolutely broke him. And that was so funny.
It was amazing. It was really impressive.
Yeah, it was. I agree.
Awesome.
Sorry, I just took a bite out of something. I was hoping that other people would be talking.
Matt, as a music connoisseur, how was it? What do you think musically?
I think it was good. I think you could have had like a B melody in there somewhere.
I love B movie.
Yeah, B movie. Just rip the score from B movie and put that in to kind of have just like a back and forth A section, B section, so it wasn't just like the same thing. But in terms of like the way that you kind of layered things in, it was good.
Yeah, I mean, I like that you got Kelsey to harmonize with Matt though. Like, I thought that was
That was really weird.
That was very impressive.
It was scary how well that worked.
Yeah,
because we didn't plan that beforehand.
No,
but I think that Matt
cool.
sliced and diced it though. Like, that was not the beat I gave him, or
no, you said la 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 la,
yeah,
and then I just...
yeah.
Great.
It was the Dark Souls of podcast songs.
Was it?
Yes.
Does that
from
work
an,
like
from
that?
an editing
even mean?
perspective? Yes.
So.
From an editing point of view, I think it was the Dark Souls.
I feel like that's ooh, big stretch. Ooh, big stretch.
But yes, very, very good job, Walsh, and I'm looking forward to whatever monstrosity we come up with in the mid segment.
Hold on. I'm tipping over. My head is too big for my shoulders now.
But without further ado, unless someone else wants to comment on the song, we shall move into our first spooky game. We are going to a world filled with some sweet, sweet zombie action and some sweet, sweet parkour. It's Dying Light with Anthony.
Hello.
Oh my god!
So,
Oh, the zombie got to him right before he restarted.
He broke himself trying to be fudgy.
So, in a game set in 2014, the introduction to the plot is that a country is hosting the Olympics, and people start getting sick 2 to 3 weeks before the Olympics, and people debate whether they're still going to have the Olympics and choose to have them anyway, and then all hell breaks loose and they have to put the city into quarantine. So that was a fun bit of prophecy, kind of.
Great, wonderful.
Yikes.
But, so it is a zombie game, and as Chris mentioned, it has parkour, which is kind of like what sets it apart from other zombie games. It's a first-person game with an emphasis on melee combat, and using, environmental hazards, like spike traps and stuff, to kick zombies into. I myself have drop-kicked a few zombies off of rooftops, which is an amazing freaking feeling in the game. The melee combat is really fluid because once you know what you're doing, you can really effectively kill a bunch of zombies at once, and the melee system is really consistent and strong. So it's probably the best melee combat that I've had in any kind of game. The story is pretty good as well, and I think the setting is the strongest part of it. It takes place in any coincidences with real places is unintended kind of setting, but it's meant to be kind of like a Mediterranean country, a little bit on the poorer side, and you have this giant sprawling city that is just crawling with undead. And my favorite part about it is that the setting feels real enough. While you're walking around, you'll hear zombies scream in 3D audio, and they start sprinting at you from, way down the street. Or you'll have to investigate a section of an apartment complex that had an outbreak and they couldn't contain it. And you go in and the lights are out, there's blood smeared on the walls, stuff is beyond repair. The doors are all open, and you just know that you're walking into something scary. And probably the scariest part about it is that if you play the game at night, there's these really strong zombies called volatiles, who are like the Chad zombies. Like, they're really fucking tough. They're really intense, and they parkour, as opposed to the other zombies. So they'll run, chase you, pounce you, and you essentially have to run and hide. You have a UV light that scares them off for a little bit, but if you use it too much, it breaks, and then they swarm you. So, just the feeling of being chased in first person at night with very little light, and hearing all the sounds around you is an incredible feeling that a lot of games haven't really been able to replicate. So that's really remarkable in my opinion. Aside from that, the story is pretty great as well. The NPCs that you do quests for, some of them are lying to you, and they have ulterior motives. For example, one character has you get a gun so that he can defend himself and his family. And it turns out that he actually wanted to escape from the tower with his son and use the gun to blast away anybody who tried to stop him from taking him. People that you work for are part of the enemy faction and don't tell you right away. In fact, your character himself is deceiving everybody, and he's not really who he says he is. Which just creates such a fun narrative dissonance and distrust. A lot of games kind of like are like, oh, this person's shady, but they don't really put it into practice. But this game makes you really question who you actually work for. And the DLC is great because it goes from a kind of claustrophobic, overwhelming city to the countryside. And you get to explore the coast in a buggy that you get to upgrade and run zombies over with. I'm still working on it personally, but even though the setting has changed, they still find ways to make it really scary and entertaining. So yeah, that's pretty much Dying Light in a nutshell. Dying Light 2 is supposed to come out sometime within the next 3 years. I say that because it's been delayed, like, constantly, and it's apparently in development hell. I don't know how it's going to turn out, just because we've seen a Polish studio struggle to release something. And I say that as somebody who's Polish. And I don't know, but
just to kind of bounce off that, the Dying Light 2 had a release date of early December. I believe I think it actually was set for the date for Halo Infinite, but that was pushed to February. It's not a long delay, but still definitely understand like the concern, because you never know, because then that February could hit, and with all the games that are coming out in February, because there's a shit ton of them, they might be like, let's move it to April or something, and then they'll just keep pushing it off, kicking it down the road. Yeah, this game has always intrigued me, but never in a sense of like, I want to play this, more like this is interesting, this is an interesting take, because I'm not a zombie game guy. I think the only zombie game I've really played that I really love is Minecraft, if you want to count that. But I found the idea of like the abilities to jump around the world in this open world setting is always been something that's very intriguing to me. I found that the movement looks very smooth and really fun. Like, if they gave me that without the zombies, like, I'd be so in love with this game. But the zombie part's kind of hard for me to swallow, just because it's just not my thing. But no, it sounds like it's really cool. I hope that Dying Light 2 is the game that the Dying Light 1 fans have been looking forward to. I'm hoping that ends up hitting for them as well. But it definitely is one of those like underrated classics of like the last decade, Dying Light, for sure.
Well said.
Anyone else on Dying Light?
Yeah, I haven't heard of it either. It sounds cool though.
Yeah.
So it's actually, if I recall correctly, from the people who made Dead Island. When Dead Island came out, it was kind of criticized because it didn't really live up to what a lot of people were expecting from it. So to me, this almost felt like them making right with what they intended to do, and it's like pretty widely regarded as a solid game.
Interesting. I didn't know that they were connected to the Dead Island people. I don't know if they're the same developer or not, but that's interesting. Oh yeah, there you go. It says Dead Island Definitive Edition came out. The Definitive Collection came out in 2016. Because that I feel like whenever I don't know. I don't know what the parent company is now called. I think it's like Koch Media or something. But that's between that and Saints Row, people have been really been wanting a new Dead Island game, and I wonder if people just don't realize that, oh hey, you have this Dying Light over here. Like,
yeah,
I don't know how different Dead Island is from Dying Light. Like I only know the title from because people just want it. I don't know so much about the gameplay.
It's more RPG based. Like you have character classes that do specific things. In Dying Light, you build your character and you have like a preset abilities that kind of spans the entire gamut of what you can do.
Interesting.
I do not play this, and Anthony's had to explain the premise to me like 4 times because he starts talking and I unfortunately glaze over. Because I'm not into anything zombie-y. Like, I love him, and I'm happy for him, but it just has no, I don't know, I just can't retain it. So, but yesterday, he got me while I was folding laundry, and he was like, look at my screen, and can I just tell you, this game is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Like, I was blown away. I was like, this is really nice. This is really nice. But then he, like, was swimming through water, and there were just, like, zombie bodies floating around him, and I was like, is that a person? He goes, no, it's a zombie. And I'm like, isn't it the same thing? Just different kind of person. And it was it was just like very the subtlety almost that is the zombies existing in this gorgeous world while you're surviving, which they are not subtle by any means, but like it just seemed to me that in the brief moments that I looked at the screen, it was a gorgeous like exploration-y RPG type thing that was also among this catastrophic situation, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So it just, not having played it at all, and by just looking over a shoulder, I just was extremely impressed with the quality and the beauty of the game.
That's something I neglected to mention. The game is freaking scenic, and they put so much work into, like, sunsets, and, like, the town's gritty, and it's falling apart, but when the light kind of catches it, everything shines, and it's just really breathtaking.
That's why I'm like, this would be a great game to just explore. But I also remember seeing footage of this game where there is times where you are on a bridge and you are just surrounded by zombies, like Left 4 Dead or Dead Rising style, where you are just like, all right, I can't just like walk away from this. I just have to like bulldoze my way through these things just to kind of get to the other side of this bridge or whatever. Like there is like, it is so pretty when you're away from the zombies, but then you're in it and you're like, oh, okay. I mean, and for a lot of people, that's very fun, and I'm very happy for people that enjoy that. I think though, like, I would love to see them do something different and create a world that is this beautiful. I'd be very intrigued just to see what comes of it, that sort of thing.
Definitely. And I do have 2 quick honorable mentions.
Sure.
For games that scared me. So first is Road Rash. I played it when I was 5 and with my dad, who was a felon, and I hit a police officer on a motorcycle with a tire chain, and then I ran and hid and cried in real life because I was only 5 years old and I was afraid of going to prison.
Oh.
So that's scary game number 1. Scary game number 2.
Hold on, I just want to go back. I know, like, it sounded like everybody odd, but I did laugh to myself.
Scary game number 2. I don't know the name of it, but when I was young, probably like 5 or 6, I was playing this computer game where you're in this kingdom and it was completely empty. And I was playing it for a few minutes, and I heard somebody calling my name. They were saying, like, Anthony. Anthony. So I go out into the living room, and I'm like, what? And both my parents just look at me like, what? And I was like, you just called me. You've been calling me for like a minute straight. And they're like, no, we haven't. I'm like, all right. My dad plays jokes on me all the time. It's fine. I sit back down, and within minutes, it's calling me again. I hear Anthony. So I get up, I go into the living room, and I flip out. And I'm like, what do you want? Why are you playing this joke on me? And my parents are like, we haven't been calling you. Are you hearing us? And I'm like, yeah, as soon as I go and sit down and play the game, you guys call me. And they're like, stop playing that game. So anyway, that's game number 2. I have no idea.
Wait, no, I need more explanation.
Okay,
Hold
so
on.
this is exactly what I did, like, this morning when because he's told me this story before, and I was like, wait, so you don't know the name of the game or whatever? He's like, nah, to find it now would be like finding a needle in a haystack, like, whatever. And I'm like, but that's not, that's not okay. Like, what? Like, it's not.
And also, like, is the protagonist in the game called Anthony? Like, was that, like, I would like to know what was happening there.
That's
So
what I said.
I played the game for probably half an hour to a full hour. I remember it being completely empty. You're just wandering around this, like, castle kingdom, and there's nobody there. Graphics are super basic. I have no idea that anything in the game was actually trying to speak to me.
And I also asked him if you, like, enter your name at any point, and that maybe there was, like, technology in it that the point was that it was spooky and, like, calling out to you, and he's like, no. And, like, the technology at that, like, around what time would you say this was, Anthony?
Had to be, like, the early 2000s.
Yeah, so...
Wild.
Like, they just did that for Fallout 4, and they're like, it was so much work recording everybody's names, voice lines, making a whole list of, like, the hundreds of names that we do. So...
Was it actually a horror game?
I don't know. It was a game that my parents bought for me. When I stayed away from scary games when I was younger because I was really impressionable by them and got really scared. So I don't think that this game was outwardly presented as a horror game.
You do realize that we're all going to start researching this now.
Yeah, I feel like... Yeah, I'm like, I want to kind of bounce around, but... I think that will close that segment up at least. We will now... Oh god, I have a loud-ass plane flying over my head. Alright. But for now, while me and Kelsey are not going to go research this, and trust me, we will listen, though, because I am fascinated about this next game. I've never heard of this game at all. I feel like Walsh might be the only one who has played it, but I would be curious if anyone else has. It's called Splosion, man, and it looks wild. Walsh, take it away.
So I discovered this game. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the game Limbo, which is almost the game that I picked for this.
Okay.
I got in like GameStop because I had the Xbox 360. They had this like 3-pack of games that you could get. You ever see those where it's like 3 games in like one thing? It's like a triple pack. Anyway, it had Limbo. It had like Trials. What are those called? The not like the like 4-wheel dirt bike things. Whatever. You drive around in the dirt and you get real messy. And that was the other game. And then the other game was called Splosion Man, which I had not heard of before I saw this. And it is this, I guess the right term is like 2.5 platformer, 2.5 dimensional platformer where, you know, you go side to side, but a lot of the assets are 3D. So I know you guys are doing research, but specifically with you guys, I want to share a couple links. One of them is the final boss fight of the game, and you can watch these, on mute while... I suggest watching the first before the second. Watch these on mute while I talk, and to the audience, I'm going to explain what the fuck is going on, and a little bit about the game. Essentially, the plot of the game is you are Splosion Man. You are this experiment that these scientists are trying to keep under wraps, and you escape. And basically, your superpower is you could just cause an explosion around you. And if you explode too much, then you die and you turn to ash, and you need to rebuild up your explosion power. But anytime you are running and you're solving puzzles, you can run past a scientist, and if you explode next to them, they will explode into just a pile of meat. And when I say meat, I mean like a steak, a fucking like turkey leg, like a ham. And this is pretty consistent through the game. And the final boss of the game, spoilers for Splosion Man, is you fight this giant creature that is made of meat. And you beat the creature by getting it to accidentally deep fry its own hands in some kind of electrical soup, and it ends up eating its own hands. And I thought that I was having a fucking like fever dream, or I thought for a little bit afterwards I made this up, because after you beat the boss, because you were exploding around, and eventually you actually get inside of the giant meat monster, and you are just constantly exploding inside of it in an effort to destroy it completely. And as it is, you are just mashing that explode button, and it is just lighting up and exploding more and more from the inside. Little bits of meat are flying off of it. Now, mind you, I was a child, and I did not make the mental connection between these clips. I just assumed afterwards I had fucking dreamt this. As the monster is exploding, it cuts to a live-action child sitting in a living room reading a book. And then a steak falls out of the sky and lands in front of him. And then it takes you right back to the game, where you keep exploding. And then next, it takes you to two guys playing chess, and a ham busts in and knocks over the chessboard, and they high five.
It looks like stock imagery.
It does. That's why I thought I made this up. I must have seen it somewhere else. Another clip after exploding is some ribs land next to a dog. Another one is this couple on a picnic that people have very obviously dubbed over. They get hit with some hot dogs, and the clip is just them whoa, hot dogs, but somebody has obviously dubbed over it to be huh, what? Oh, look, hot dogs. Yeah, hot dogs, oh my god. It is such a strange game. And eventually you explode the entire creature, and you end the game. And you can
talk about the end credits.
Yeah, I want to talk about the end credits. Now, keep in mind, this is on a smaller screen now. The credits are rolling by, and the end credits start with, it is this weird Splosion Man song that they have created, but a lot of it is the concept art at first for the game, and then the rest of it is a man dressed up as Splosion Man, running around in front of a green screen with explosions in the background, and then exploding staff members of the fucking game company, I can only assume, but they are dressed as the scientists from the game. And I can't, I shit you not, he is green screen running in front of a grill of hot dogs. He people's heads pop up around him and he punches them and then they explode while there's fire happening in the background. Oh my god, I'll give links to this another time, but yeah, he is chasing people around and exploding, and as a child, I don't think I processed what I watched.
How could you?
And I just assumed, I knew I kind of beat it, but I didn't remember the credits. I must have, put them in the back of my mind. And while I was just thinking of random games, because you guys, and we'll get to them, you guys have a little bit unorthodox scary games. So I was like, let me just go back through games that I know I've played and think about like what's happened. And like I said, I thought of Limbo, and then I thought of this game because it was a part of a package that it came in. And it, like, I was looking up the ending and clips from it, and it all came flooding back to me. I'm so glad that I have found this, but it also feels strangely cursed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I really do love it, because it is this, like, stupidity and insanity that you could really tell that the people who made this game really cared about the game.
Yep.
And that they just wanted to make something just stupid and fun. And it was stupid fun. It was just exploding around, and while there were puzzles and things to solve, it was ridiculous in every fucking way. But yeah, I think that the ending, not only is the ending unsettling that you are getting this creature to eat itself, but I think just to me it very much not unsettled me, even a way that I processed it. It was just a very, very strange moment in my video game playing career.
Yeah. Anyone want to start? Anyone want to touch this?
So I was scared because whenever I was skipping around in a lot of the clips, like I wasn't watching them through, and every time that Walsh mentioned something specific, I was at that moment watching in the clip, and that's not related to the game. I'm just freaked out that timed up so well.
Fair enough. I initially was gonna say this reminds me, like, the gameplay reminded me so much of not gameplay, but like the look of it, the weird game aesthetic of it reminded me so much of a Double Fine game. Like, it's something that they would come out, like, that something that they would, in like one of their I forget what they call it, but they have like these, like, they take a 2-week break from developing their major game, and they work together to create like 4 different like mini demos of games that they would make. It kind of looks like that, and that's a compliment, because Double Fine's some of the more like creative people. I love them to death, and I could tell that a younger me would be scared by this game, but I would probably enjoy it. The end credit sequence, though, reminded me so much of another weird studio that I love in Young Horses, the Octodad and Bugsnax people, because that, to me, that energy that they're bringing in their end credits, that just reminds me so much, like, okay, these are people that love what they do and are having so much fun doing it and just love being silly, and I appreciate the hell out of it. We could all sit here and be like, oh my god, this is so scary and weird, like, what the hell's going on? And those are valid emotions, but at the same time, like, after experiencing that, I can reflect on it and just be like, you know what? I love these people. I hope they're doing well. Apparently now they're making a bunch of Oculus games, I guess. I don't know if their resources are being well used. I would hope that they would invest in something else. But hey, I hope other people are enjoying their games as they continue to make them.
I'm thoroughly disturbed.
Since then, they have made a Miss Splosion Man, almost kind of in a similar fashion to like a Miss Pac-Man. Hold on.
Splosion Man?
Yeah, Miss Splosion Man.
Yeah, Miss Splosion.
Okay.
So here's the description for Splosion Man. Here was the description for Splosion Man. Fools they were, to tread where knowledge should stay forbidden. For what emerged was not a man, it was Splosion Man. Quote, and all who saw him were sploded, for he was the fire, and they were but meat. End quote. Wow. Able to explode himself at will, wow. Splosion Man launches his way through 100 levels of single-player and 4-player co-op and uncontainable force. And then Miss Splosion Man's description. You got a problem? Yo, she'll explode it. At the big science after party celebrating the capture of Splosion Man, a spill of champagne shorts out the safety protocols on the Splosionatrix, and from it emerges Miss Splosion Man.
Wow.
I'm so hard right now.
If anyone else has anything to say about this game, I will definitely want to hear from you. But I do want to point out that there is a section on the Splosion Man Wikipedia called Controversy, and when I see that at first, I'm like, oh no, what's happened? In January 2011, Capcom released an iOS game called Splosion, which featured several similarities to Splosion Man, including the same game mechanics. Twisted Pixel programmer Mike Henry said he believed the game to be a complete theft. The CEO also pointed out that Twisted Pixel Games, which is the developer, had once pitched Splosion Man to Capcom, but the game was rejected. So fucking Capcom came in and was like, "Oh no, we don't want you guys. We don't want this game." And then went behind these guys' back and then remade the game into their own little, I guess, use. They did not take legal action against them, and in Miss Splosion Man, they ended up having a character to make fun of the fact that Capcom stole from them.
Nice.
No, they
just like,
cool.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm looking at it. It straight up says that the because the character notices a similarity between one game and another game in universe, calling it a ripoff, and the character then states, "Who made this game? Capcom?"
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
So that's some little fun trivia there for Splosion Man.
Like, overall, it's got some pretty good reviews. Like,
yeah, people. That's what I was surprised about too.
I know. Right now, it does seem like this is such it's so out there, and such a strange, weird thing to point at. But I also, because spooky season, it just was so strange. But I genuinely had so much fun playing this game. I almost wish I could have done it co-op with some people, or even up to 4 people. And I think that they 100% succeeded at making something really fun to play while also being completely off the wall.
I would play it. I would absolutely play it. I don't have access to it in any way because it looks like it was Xbox 360 era, and it doesn't seem like they're going to be re-releasing it anytime soon. But I would play the shit out of this.
Let's just play Miss Splosion Man.
Is that accessible? Because
it says Xbox, Windows, Steam, Mac, available on the App Store.
No.
Yeah. And hey, a Metacritic of 82. I mean, they're really good reviews, all things considered. Wow. All right. Well, I now have a new appreciation for Splosion Man as a whole, as a concept.
So this just unlocked a part of my memory of a PS1 era game called Skull Monkeys, where they were also obsessed with meat. It was a platformer, and they broke the fourth wall constantly. I just shared an image of a boss whose name is Joe's Head, who is somebody's giant head, but with legs, arms, and a skull monkey head on top of it.
Their body's just straight up a picture of a guy.
Yeah, it's a boss that you have to fight.
Holy shit. And then you just sent a picture of him, the character's head on the body opening their mouth to shoot out a fireball. Amazing. At the bottom it says, "Yo, Joe."
But this is apparently a subgenre that we haven't connected the dots on until now. Very excited to see where it develops.
Oh my god! Anthony! The end of Psychonauts is the meat circus!
Oh my god!
Oh no! Oh no!
It's all connected! Alright,
we can move on now.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's speaking of meat, we're gonna go visit some cows and pigs and go back to Barnyard. Now, just for clarification before you start, Matt, is this Barnyard just straight up Barnyard, or is this the Slop Bucket Games?
Or is this back
No,
to the Barnyard?
This is the movie. This is the movie tie-in game based on the 2005 Nickelodeon movie production, Barnyard.
So it's
starring Kevin James as Otis.
Oh God, fucking Kevin James. So okay,
shit, that was Kevin. Oh shit.
Yeah, fuck that. so straight up, this is just called. It's just Barnyard. It's just Barnyard.
It's just Barnyard.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, it is the Barnyard video game. So if you don't know what the movie Barnyard is about, it's talking animals on a farm. They get into hijinks, and then there's some coyotes, and his dad dies. But it is not a great movie, but has some fun moments, and I really, really enjoyed it as a kid. One of my favorite movies as a kid. Now that I have media literacy, it's not as good.
But one thing that the movie did do is that Otis is trans. So
right, there is an interpretation where you can read Otis as trans because he's having a heart to heart with his dad, and his dad says, "Oh, I remember when I was like teaching your sister how to do this thing," and Otis says, "I don't have a sister." And then his dad's like, "Oh yeah, that was you, wasn't it?" And Sam Elliott, that was more Patrick Warburton than Sam Elliott, but you know.
Yeah.
Sorry, hold on. Slight thing, and this was something I
Yeah.
more noticed while watching Back to the Barnyard. Otis has an udder.
Right, all the male cows have udders.
Okay, never mind.
Yep.
All right. Continue.
Yep. Everyone has udders. Which is why, like, just fair warning, I am going to be using the word squirt a lot throughout this summary.
Sorry, I'm out. I'm tapping out.
Love it.
So if that makes you uncomfortable, you may want to skip ahead. But I will be saying the word squirt a lot because in the Barnyard video game, you kind of like play through the movie with like your own character. Your own character gets to do things. And it's kind of the video game is a little bit interesting because you're able to like go around the farm like completing missions. You unlock new areas as the game goes along. You can use coins to like buy things for a nightclub. It's like something that you can complete throughout the game. It's a decently cool system, like one that doesn't have to exist in a game like this, but does, which I appreciate the novelty of it. A lot of different mini games that you can do. There's bike racing. In fact, bike is like your biggest way to get around the farm. There's some car stuff that if you play it on the Wii, it does the Wii thing where you have to turn the remote poorly.
Fun.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of motion controls on that one, which is the version that I played the most of. Because of course it is. But there was one subs. Oh, and then you can do that like that one moment in the movie where you're making fun of the mailman, and then when the mailman turns around, you like you're a stoic cow, but then when he's turning, you do like weird shit. You get to do that. So that's fun.
I've seen when looking through Google Images. That's the one mini game I've probably seen the most.
Yep. So the thing that will lead into why this game scared me, one of the sub mini games was called Sharp Squirter, where you had to run around and squirt things with your udders, with your milk, and like it was like you would run around the area. There would be targets, there would be cans that you would just have to shoot, things like that. Just basically like do target practice. And a kind of sub mode of that was you had to protect the chicken coop from coyotes, from raccoons, whatever. Protect the chickens and the eggs from getting kidnapped and getting eaten because you are in the barnyard and you want to protect your friends. Well, another subplot that kind of happens throughout a few things is Freddy the ferret, who's voiced by. Oh shoot, who's he voiced by?
Freddy the Ferret.
Let me check.
It has been some time since I've seen this film. Wait, who said
Cam Clark? Okay. He is. I thought he was another like common voice actor.
Okay.
But his whole thing is he doesn't want to eat his friend Peck, who's voiced by Rob Paulson, also known as Carl from Jimmy Neutron, Pinky from Pinky and the Brain, Yakko. Like lot of famous people. Anyway, so he's trying to like become vegetarian, but he's a ferret, so like he needs to be able to eat meat and stuff. So he starts having a dream. And I'm gonna send some screenshots from this section.
I love this. This is my favorite episode ever. I love this so much.
So it's gonna start out. He's gonna look a little. Let me see. There you go. He's gonna look a little funny, kind of as he's falling asleep. And then you start basically like entering his dream a bit, and then all of a sudden, let me get the right moment for this. All of a sudden, he looks a little different. And I'm having trouble pausing this video that I'm on, so I apologize.
I'm so excited.
And there's more of him that shows up because you enter his dream, and you now have instead of warding off raccoons, you need to ward off Devil Freddies. Which look like that.
Okay.
The sky in the background is red. So it's like the atmosphere itself is really creepy. And then usually like in the like first level or whatever, you would like there would be little baby chicks that you would like pick up and just gently toss into the coop. Not in this one. In this one they are, and I'll show you kind of like just a shot of the gameplay as I'm running around squirting these Devil Freddies. The chickens are not chicks. They are like the image of cooked chickens that you would see just running around on two legs, like no heads. You can see it in the top right. That's what they're running around looking like. While the sky is red, and while there's like creepy music, and while there's like a ton of other things, I did not beat this game when I first played it because this creeped me the fuck out so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about this, and you played it for me before.
I have played this scene for you, or this level for you.
You probably, your body was trying to protect you, and your mind decided to repress it completely.
The Devil Freddies look fucking horrifying.
Yeah.
They look like little impish blood demons, and it doesn't help that you have to find cooked little headless chickens.
Yeah. And then you squirt the demon Freddies with milk, but that's like not the weirdest part about the game because you're so used to it by that point.
Are you?
The squirting, yeah, you're definitely used to it.
I'm so numb to the milk squirting.
I become numb to it. And the worst part is, so this part of the game also comes around the same time that you have to do a golf minigame. And they do this fucking dumb thing. This is just awful game design at this part, but this combined with the golf thing made me stop playing, where you had to fucking do the front 9 at a point, and then you had to do the back 9, and then you had to do the full 18 holes, all within like 5 to 6 missions of each other. And the minigame took could take like 20 minutes to do at the full length, where every other minigame was like 3 minutes. So it was a not fun part of the game, and then I get to this shit, and I just didn't want to play anymore, because I didn't want to think about the Devil Freddies, and I didn't want to think about the cooked chickens, or the red sky, or what the fuck was going on. Why was I in his dream? I don't know. I don't know why they did this specifically in a Barnyard video game.
Wow.
I've never been the same.
Aw.
I feel like there's times where I don't know, like developers or just generally anything, movies, any media, there's just this notion that like let's just get weird and let's just dive straight into the weird. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it's just like, why? No, there's no reason for this. There's no reason for this whatsoever.
So the red little devil on the right looks like Mushu's cousin from Alabama.
Oh God, you shouldn't be right about that.
Wow, he's pretty spot on about that.
You shouldn't be correct, but you are, and I hate it.
I thought you were gonna say it looks like Barnaby.
It also looks like Barnaby. Like 5 minutes after we wake up.
Yeah, and we haven't fed him yet.
Right.
I'm still hung up on the fact that all of the males have udders.
And that's just a character design choice, honestly.
I know, but that's interesting that was the choice.
They're all trans.
That is what made me confused. Like, it took me forever to understand that, like, bulls are boys and cows are girls.
Is because of the barnyard?
Yes.
Isn't there a bull character?
There is a bull character. The bouncer to get into the nightclub barn is a bull, and his name is Bill. Which, sure, but like that. So like bulls exist. Also, here's the headless chickens running out of the coop.
Oh no!
No. There he is.
Yikes.
They do look kind of delicious, though.
Anthony.
Alright. Yeah, but you gotta hunt them down and catch them. Me imagining
catch 'em.
me.
You gotta squirt them.
I don't want it to be me anymore. Me in middle school, learning about hunting and gathering, and this is what I imagined they hunted.
I think that we've progressed beyond the need to continue this.
I think so.
No, I this is just wild. All right. Well,
Thank you.
Yeah,
You're welcome for introducing you to my nightmares.
I want you to play this again for me sometime.
Really?
Yes.
I kind of want to play it.
Gabe is low-key kind of a freak.
Legitimately, the rest of the game, like, I really dig it. Like, it's a very charming game. Like, if you get any enjoyment out of
charming
fucking Barnyard, I guess, you would like it. But it's not, I don't know. I enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Before we go ahead. No, you're the host, so I was just gonna say before we go to the mid seg, I wanted to interject with something.
Oh, well then, please, you go first.
We think we may have found Anthony's game.
Really? Please
no way.
Delve into this, please. I'm down.
So I'm almost certain that it is Crayola 3D Castle Creator.
Oh my god. That makes it so much better. That makes it so fucking good.
And
I just broke Matt.
I was not expecting that at all. At all.
So I looked at it a little bit, and like the box art triggered some kind of like memory, like way back there. And I have been watching somebody play it, and I think this might actually be it.
So then, but is there? I want to know if there's an Anthony in there.
So I haven't been listening to the audio because I'm listening to all my friends.
Yes.
But they do actually ask your name at the start of the game. And
interesting.
Oh my god.
You wander through this, like, you essentially create your own kingdom. I'm curious if like the demo version had it pre-created for you, which would maybe make a little bit more sense. But it really is empty except for a few key NPCs in the castle itself, and people report them as being creepy.
Jesus.
Yeah, so here's the YouTubes. If you guys want to hear your name spoken and then revisit it in your dreams.
I kind of hope this is cathartic for you, like being able to like just have this kind of closure.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like the end of It Chapter 1 when they know who the monster is. And then something pulls them forward to confront it. So I may possibly look into how to play this game again, and I'll let you guys know if I'm still called.
Well, so everybody who's listening, when you see the news article that man loses his mind and murders his wife, it was because Anthony started playing this game again. And the voices told him to do it.
Wow. Well,
This game is going for $40 on Amazon.
fuck.
Wow.
And,
Oh my
and it
God.
is very likely that it came out before I was born.
It came out in 98.
Yep. And I was born late 98.
There you go.
Wow.
I'm still older.
We know what asked you.
That was so weird. That's not what's on the table right now, right?
I know.
That's not what we're discussing.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Like it's some goddamn like low key competition that he holds on to.
It's so funny. I was just not expecting that as a
Clenches his fist and grins menacingly. I'm still older.
I'm still older.
This game has no power over me.
Speaking of monsters calling our name, Walsh, you are going to guide us through creating one of our own. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, so Anthony had an excellent idea for...
Oh, I forgot.
Okay.
Please delete that.
So can I just say, yeah, for Matt, good job. Anthony, I don't know what that was. Kelsey, we did not hear you on Discord.
I didn't do anything because I forgot. I was too wrapped up in the 3D Castle creator. And then you guys started doing that, and I looked up and I was like, what are they doing? And I was like, oh shit, I missed my cue. Oops.
So I did participate, nor did Gabe. So
Spooky.
overall,
But wait, did everybody
Overall,
hear
that-
Anthony let
that
out
was-
that sound and then go,
Yeah.
please delete that? Please
That
delete
was,
that.
that was a big flop.
but
That didn't go well.
you know what, Matt, you put it 100%. I appreciate that. Yeah, we were just trying to scare you. Like they were trying to scare you.
It was all Matt's idea, and it's his fault.
Yep.
All right, what guide us through it now, Walsh?
I'm sorry, now I'm just looking through... If you want to keep this part in, right now I'm looking through, you guys, spoiler tagged, like, Walsh, don't read this. And then I clicked on the first one, because I waited patiently, and it said, damn it, Walsh, I said not to click on this. I'll just scream really loudly when he's about to start. Spook him. Okay.
And then Anthony is like, I read spoiler text like they're whispers. That's a great idea, though. Which is fantastic.
Okay. So Anthony had an excellent idea for our mid-segment today in All Hallows Eve month of our Lord and Savior, Halloween. And
Jack, yes.
yes. And in which you guys, we all throw some adjectives together. Most likely one from each of you. And then I will, during the rest of the show, sit and design a creature with those adjectives in mind. And just draw it up. And then at the end of the episode, you guys will be able to react to the picture.
Okay. Is it? Are we each doing a single adjective, or is it?
How about
Are we delivering more?
Why don't we just start with a single adjective from everybody, and we'll go down Discord order.
Okay.
I already have mine.
You know
Can we
what?
do reverse order?
Let's do reverse order then.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Voluptuous.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy with that.
All right. Wrote it down. Next.
Harry.
Kelsey.
What was that?
Harry.
Oh God. Oh Jesus.
Porous.
Oh no.
Porous,
Porous.
as in containing many pores.
Yeah.
You got it.
You know, like SpongeBob.
Oh God. Or like pumice.
Yeah. Fuck it. Moist.
Aw.
Yo,
We gotta go all in.
I'm just gonna draw SpongeBob with a fat hairy ass.
I mean, that's
now
kind of
you
where we're going.
have to.
No.
But let's have Anthony
I want juicy, thick SpongeBob.
I'm like, okay, you know what? This is the future liberals want. I ask you all for spooky words to create the scariest monster possible, and you're like thick, voluptuous, horny.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say, Anthony?
Colorful.
Colorful.
Aw.
All right, you know what? Let me get one more from each of you two.
Okay, well, go like do like a snake draft. So Anthony goes next.
Sure, Anthony,
again.
give me another one.
Okay, let's do bubbly.
Bubbly. I will interpret that however I may. All right, Chris.
Rigid.
Rigid. Boy said moist and rigid.
Yep.
Jesus.
Yep.
Modern.
Modern. Okay.
It's like a house now.
Yeah.
Anthony, did you say colorful because you were looking at the fucking Crayola 3D Castle Creator?
No, I was actually looking up funny adjectives, and I'm like, ooh.
Okay.
Oh,
That is
colorful.
funny,
That's a
though.
goddamn knee slapper. Like, what?
I don't know. I was like, oh yeah, I
That
like
just
colors.
tickles my pits.
I thought it was nice.
Me who now has to... I'm just going to design it in black and white and be like, yeah, it's colorful.
The various shades of black and white. That's colorful.
Gabe, do you have another one already prepared? Because I'm struggling.
No.
Okay.
You can tell by my cross-hatching that it's colorful.
Concupiscent.
Hey,
What the fuck?
What?
Can you spell that?
CONCUPISCENT.
Uh-huh. And what does that mean? I know what it means, but just for the audience.
It means filled with sexual desire, lustful.
Okay.
Great.
So not only are we going to be horny for the monster must be
Monster's awesome.
horny for us.
Yeah.
Wow.
Didn't Nietzsche say that?
Yes.
Robotic.
Great.
Got it.
So this was just created for Gabe.
Yeah.
I literally just looked at my Emmy amiibo. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that.
Love it. Love it. All right.
Okay. I'm seeing some overlap here. Some things we can put together here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I will not be participating in the rest of the. No, I'm kidding. Of course I will be. I will be here to listen to you guys the same way that I'm sure the people at home listen to a podcast while they do other tasks. But yes, I am ready to take on this very hard, difficult task. Chris, it's up to you whether you want to leave this part in or not. But I think I want to keep this, like, if we could put like a link in the description instead of just sharing this online. I think that
Sure.
would be best for it.
Yeah.
So if you
that
want to
works.
see the result now, you can. But we are going. They're all going to react a little bit later in the show.
But thank you very much for guiding us through the monster, and best of luck on your journey to creating it. We'll report back to you at the end of the podcast. But for now,
Can I give a comment immediately, just looking at the words?
Sure,
Yes.
sure.
I think the one throwing me off the most right now is probably porous.
Good.
But
Good.
I do appreciate the challenge.
I knew you would.
Yeah.
You.
Just be careful for those with trypophobia.
I
what's
will
that?
be careful.
Fear
The
of
fear
many
of
holes.
tiny holes.
Oh, interesting. All right. It has been 2 years since we started Team Chaos Productions, and we would not be where we are today without the help of Anchor. You've heard us talk about it all the time, but let me remind you, this completely free platform gives creators the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast from your computer or phone. Once done, Anchor will distribute your podcast to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more so you don't have to. You can also make some money on the episodes with no minimum listenership. It's everything you'd ever want in a podcasting platform, so download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Happy podcasting.
What makes Table Party different from other tabletop podcasts?
The music.
The setting.
The characters.
The gore.
A bunch of different games.
The refreshing coldness of ice cream.
The 300-foot tall squid named Delilah.
The dice rolls.
The horrifying body horror.
The aroma.
The suffering of my players.
Dairy Queen blizzards.
The luxurious plush texture.
The free coupons.
Bad decisions.
And who can we expect?
I'm Kelsey.
I'm Matt.
I'm Gabe.
I'm Walsh.
I'm Chris.
Welcome to the Table Party.
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 Now we move on. We got two games coming up here that are in the vein of games that scare us. Amusement park simulators, starting with Planet Coaster. Kelsey.
So I'm also, like, if you want, Chris, at any point, I'm also completely fine with us kind of, like, discussing in tandem a little bit, like, if you want to do a comparison.
We could definitely do it, yeah. So mine is Rollercoaster Tycoon.
Yeah.
Yours is Planet Coaster.
Yes.
I think, I guess it would make sense for me to talk about Rollercoaster Tycoon because it was birthed from Planet Coaster, or
so
rather,
do you want to, like,
it gave birth.
You can, if you want, there's no set in stone order. If you'd rather, like, talk a little bit about Rollercoaster Tycoon and then, like, it's up to you.
All right. Well, I'll talk about the Rollercoaster Tycoon stuff that doesn't scare me first to kind of segue you into Planet Coaster.
Sure.
So, the amusement park simulators, I don't think would be what they are today without Rollercoaster Tycoon. It's I believe a game that came out, when did it come out? I want to say it was like the late 90s? I mean, that would make the most sense. Hold on, I should have had this information in front of me before we started.
1999.
Yes, there you go. And so that was a game that was developed by a man named Chris Sawyer, and was then picked up by, or I guess maybe he started Frontier Developments.
Isn't that the guy who, like, paints the fences white?
Yeah, it may
That's
be.
Diane Sawyer.
I don't get it.
It's so absurd, but it's in the best way. My God, you really got her.
Diane Sawyer's a real life news reporter,
and I was making a reference to the Adventures of Tom Sawyer.
Yeah. No, I know, but I think that's what's funny. That's
Diane Sawyer painted
that's the joke.
I don't know why that's funny, but it is.
Anyways, so Frontier Developments and Chris Sawyer, they are the originators of Rollercoaster Tycoon, and essentially it is the sandbox game that you go in and you have all these scenarios that you can pick from. The scenarios are each individual parks, and you can click on them, and then you go in and you are this basically like this overseer god of this amusement park. Now,
Chris, before you get too farther away from the, just to give a proper homage to the creation, Chris Sawyer is actually a Scottish video game designer, and his first game ever was Transport Tycoon, which is lauded as being like one of the best simulation games of all time in 1994. He then went on to do the Rollercoaster Tycoon series.
I had no idea about that. Just
to interject before we get too far away from the origins, and then
Yeah, so essentially, this roller coaster game, you are in charge of an amusement park, and your job is to make the best park possible by hitting a certain objective. And like for each of these parks, there's like 1 or 2 objectives that you have to meet, and then you will get like a reward. You don't have if in theory, you could just create the park and not worry about the objective. But it does go a long way towards you. First of all, if you do successfully complete an objective, you unlock more parks. But beyond that, it also is just a good way to teach you about the game, how to kind of keep up with researching different rides, and also keep customers engaged in some way. It's a classic game. I love going back to it every once in a while. I'm very happy I have it on Steam, because at some point I'm sure I would love to go back to it and screw around with it. But a lot of it is certainly I think it's not as deep of a tycoon game as nowadays, especially with Planet Coaster. But it's just such a nostalgia trip to go back to it. And I have a lot of just fun memories about it that I want to get into in terms of the scary elements of this game. But before I do that, Kelsey, what about Planet Coaster for you?
So Planet Coaster is made, developed and published by Frontier Developments, and it is considered the Planet Coaster is considered like the Rollercoaster Tycoon 3 like spiritual successor, essentially, where it is a business management tycoon roller coaster park amusement management game. Wait, roller coaster amusement park management game. Wow. Where you can sandbox mode, you can do challenges, you can do more career or scenarios. But it is very, very similar to Rollercoaster Tycoon. I personally feel like it is extremely similar. I know that I feel like, Chris, when we were talking about it, when you first discovered it and showed it to me, that I didn't feel like you were really into the idea of comparing them too closely, unless I was just misreading you. I feel like you were like, yeah, it's similar. I feel like it's very, very similar, having like played through it now a little bit more. But
yeah, I think I guess maybe my hesitancy is just in like, I don't know. It was more of just not really knowing, because I haven't really gone too deep into Planet Coaster. I have the game, I just haven't really played a bunch of it.
Yeah. So we were hanging out for my birthday, and I was like, you know what? I just really miss Rollercoaster Tycoon. Really wish we could play it. And you were like, oh, nobody's really done anything with it. Oh, let's just try Planet Coaster. So this was like last Thursday, I think. Yeah. I've played it every single day since. I'm obsessed with it. I spent way too many hours last weekend, or the weekend before, like just nonstop playing it. And I think that it's fantastic, and I love it. The spooky element, so like it doesn't actually scare me, but one of the things that we got right away was the DLC that allows you to unlock the spooky themed parts of the park. Like it's like an additional I don't know, I guess like it's more cosmetic. It gives you a couple of different like rides, but it's I think very well done. So like I'm just gonna share some screenshots, but it essentially takes the park generally already comes with the game comes with some general thematic things that you can use to curate a park that you want. So like Western theme, like a World's Fair theme, pirates, fairy tale, things like that are automatically included. But then you can unlock like an adventure park that is very Indiana Jones themed, and then this spooky park which is very like haunted and kind of reminds me of like the Haunted Mansion ride in Disney. But I think personally that a lot of the aspects of it, especially the cosmetics and decorations that you can put around the park, are so well done, so highly detailed, and the rides are really cool too, that I just like was so impressed by how much they really honed in on the like horror amusement aspect. And I have so much fun creating like whole sections. I tried doing a whole park in just haunted stuff, but I ran out of things eventually, so I deviated from it. But I just feel like the way that they put everything together and present it, and like one of the decorations you can put out, there's several different instances of like graveyard plots that are actually animatronics. So if you like get down on the ground level and look at these things, you'll see them move. But like one that absolutely grossed me out was a graveyard plot that had like giant maggots coming out of it. And they like really squished around and they were shiny and I was like, this is so gross. And then another one is like, so I do not like spiders mostly. And I'm not as bothered by like a large one as I am by many baby ones. Baby spiders freak me the fuck out. Like I just can't handle it. I had a meltdown one time. So one of the things that you can get for your park is like an entrance gate that is haunted themed, but it's spider themed. So there's like one or two large spiders like waiting for you and like moving. But if you walk through it, there's a bunch of baby spiders hanging from it. And like that is how detailed, like ridiculously detailed this is, that you can like, first of all, how it differs from the Rollercoaster Tycoon is that you can really do like first person exploration in the park as a guest and like ride the rides and walk through things. So you can do that and that experience is really cool, but you really get to see not only from like a bird's eye angle of building the park, but from a ground level of being a person at the park, how detailed everything is. And I just personally found that the Spooky Pack really just was so cool and made a big impression and felt very thoroughly satisfying to play around with. And they also have a Ghostbusters pack, which I didn't buy because I don't really care about Ghostbusters, but I would imagine that it would be very complimentary, though it is like specifically licensed and themed about the Ghostbusters film. I would imagine that it would complement this very well. But yeah, so I'm really enjoying Planet Coaster, but I just felt it was very appropriate that we happened to be leading into our spooky themed podcast, and that this was something I was really enjoying and playing with. And I find that it's a great game to just like want to mellow down at the end of a long day. You just turn it on and manage your stuff and build some things, and it's very gratifying and very satisfying. And I'm finding currently I don't really have a lot of faults. There's certain mechanical things that I feel like could be improved by the game. But like as on the whole, I'm learning still a lot about it and how to manage everything, and I'm finding that it's so much fun and definitely fills that void from Rollercoaster Tycoon. But I mean, anybody can ask me questions or make comments about anything on Planet Coaster before we go to Chris.
I love this.
Not to MC, but
no, it's your segment for at least for this one, the Planet Coaster.
I really like the whole aesthetic of Planet Coaster. I used to watch some series, like video series on it while I would write. Just kind of cool to have on in the background, see stuff being built as I was working on things. And I think that if I got into like a simulation game again like this is definitely one that I would get into just because it seems very good.
Yeah, I love this. I love little sandbox games like this, specifically when they have a sandbox mode where I'm not going to like go into the red within 2 months of operating and shut down. But this one has like really fun details. Like for me, for games, the little details are what really makes the whole thing come together, you know? And there's just so many moving parts to everything you put down. It's putting down a hat shop and seeing people suddenly have really fun hats all across your park. And Kelsey and I worked on the Scary Park together, and we made like this little skeletal fountain. I think you were there too, Chris. I think that you helped us with this too, in front of the hotel. And then we made this little walkway with this grave site where people pop out of coffins. It was just so much fun. Very wholesome. And my favorite part, as Kelsey mentioned, is when you actually go through the rides. You know, it's one thing to put down like this roller coaster ride. It's another thing to actually sit in it and see what it looks like if you were really there.
Yeah. It reminded me of another Frontier game that they made called Throwville, which is a game I love to death. It doesn't have like where you actually get to walk around in the park and interact with the different guests and stuff, but it has the ability to like ride in rides and kind of experience all of them. Like it's it was really cool, especially when we were doing the pre-built Haunted Mansion rides where they had like all the sets that you're kind of going through. Like it really felt like oh, okay, this is like going to like for us locally, it reminded me of going to Adventureland, which that's probably like maybe a little too local. Maybe I'll just stop talking now. But, oh no, did I lose internet?
No, you're here.
No, you're good.
Okay. I know all of a sudden everything just froze for a second.
Spooky.
I mentioned a local establishment and then the ghosts came and stole my Wi-Fi. I really appreciate Planet Coaster.
Adventureland, sponsor us.
Right. That's actually, you know what? Do you guys know that the Adventureland movie is named after that park?
Yes.
That weird local. That's why. That's so fucking wild.
Was it after that one person died by getting run over by the ladybug roller coaster?
Maybe. Who knows? That. Oh God! Wow, that's a dark pull.
Da 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 da.
But I for some reason I just haven't gone super into Planet Coaster. I think just because management games generally have gotten to the point for me where they're too intimidating for me. They're kind of like intimidating is not the right word, but they also kind of like, I feel like I put the work in and it just doesn't feel satisfying at times, and I think that's probably why I haven't really like dived too deep into Planet Coaster. That said, I really appreciate what they have done. Like it is, in my mind, I mean, I'm guessing that there's a bunch of new people on Planet Coaster, but in my mind, this is like them saying like, this is the new era of amusement park simulator where we've retired Rollercoaster Tycoon. We are now all in on this Planet Coaster IP, and we want to make it the best. And they really have done a fantastic job. I think you can even compare it to a the recent Rollercoaster Tycoon game, which came out in 2016 by Chris Sawyer. I forget who put it out. Someone it was like it was Atari. Atari
Fucking
put
Atari.
It out.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I just looked that up too.
And that game got a 40 on Metacritic and was not at all well received. But I think that they've definitely taken, like, if you think about amusement park simulators today, you think immediately about Planet Coaster, and there are some people that are gonna try to like kind of compete with that, but what they have done with this game is really, really impressive. The diversity of the rides is insane. It's just wild. They've really done a very good job with it.
And then also, like, just going back to something that Anthony said where he was like, the Tycoon games, like, I'd rather do sandboxing mode so that I'm not, like, in the red 2 months in. I absolutely, like, completely flipped my budget when I was doing sandboxing mode. I was like $100,000 deep all the time. Like, there was no coming out of that hole. But then when I did career mode, the structure of it completely made me understand the way that the game worked better and like how to balance my budgets. And they give you little challenges to like meet certain goals, and then you earn money from those. And so I felt that while sandboxing mode was great for getting a feel for the mechanics of everything and seeing like what my restrictions were and what the whole catalog looks like, the career mode actually gave me a much better understanding of the actual business management side of it, and gave me the tools and knowledge to have actual, like, an income every month and, like, not be in the red the whole time. I mean, certain things, I get too excited with the fireworks and they drain my budget, so I gotta reel that in. But, overall, I found that the career mode was actually more satisfying than the sandboxing. Sandboxing was great to get my feet wet, but the career mode just seemed to, like, really, I don't know, helped me understand better. And like a whole aspect of this that I don't remember being in Rollercoaster Tycoon 2 is that like the staff management aspect is like at least a third of the game.
It was not as deep at all.
And so it's like
RCT.
You need to provide like staff housing in the park so that people can take rests and they can get certain perks from resting at certain buildings. And if they're either overworked or underworked, they're going to be unhappy. If you don't train them, they're unhappy. If you have too many people, they're unhappy. They're very unhappy all the time for the most part, unless I'm giving them a lot of money, which is everybody everywhere. But for the most part, it like really was like I found it impossible to manage in sandboxing mode, but then once I was in career mode, for whatever reason, it was easier to manage. But part of that staffing, though, which I think is like my favorite part, is that you get to hire mascots, which I feel like you were able to hire entertainers in Rollercoaster Tycoon. I remember they were in like, I think they were pretty much strictly though in like animal suits. Like I remember like a panda and a tiger and an elephant, I think.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so, but they have, like, specific themed mascots, and some of the mascots are specific to the park themes, too. So, like, they have some pirates available for the pirate one. If you're doing the fairy tale, there's a princess. There's also just, like, the generic Planet King Planet guy. But when you do the spooky park, the King Planet guy becomes, like, Spooky King or King Spooky. I don't know what they call him. But he literally, I'm sending a photo now, he just bounces around your park waving at people. But his smile is, like, kind of intimidating and scary. Like, he's a little much. And you can drop, like, 50 of them in one intersection and just flip people out if you wanted to. So that's fun. Like, that's...
But they literally clog intersections.
They do.
Though.
Like, I actually had to start reworking my sidewalks in my park because the entertainers were, like, screwing up the flow of the park. Because these guys are massive. But they're just really silly and fun.
Yeah. They glow in the dark.
They do.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's, like, specific to the spooky pack. But, like, otherwise, there's just... I feel like there's so much you can do, and I'm very much enjoying it as a low-stakes, like, mellow... Something and, like, something that you can just put on, and if you only wanted to play for 5 minutes, you could. Like, there's nothing holding you to it. You don't have to finish any campaigns to walk away. You can stay for as little or as long as you want, and pretty much do whatever you want, and that, to me, is just... I feel like there's not enough credit given to those kind of games, or enough, like, I don't know, not enough of a fan club for those, for how good those, how good it is to have that accessible to you when you need to just unwind if you only have a minute to do so.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so now we can talk about Christopher having a meltdown when he was a child, because it's one of my favorite stories.
Yeah. Yeah, so transitioning from that, because Planet Coaster, I think, is definitely, like, it's probably better than Rollercoaster Tycoon at this point in terms of, like, everything that it has done for life.
No, but nothing's as good as you having a meltdown, so we gotta...
I'll get there. The quality of life improvements that are with this, but one thing that I don't think this game does well compared to Rollercoaster Tycoon is the ability to just cause havoc in the park if you wanted to. And that brings me to RCT, because I'm going to tell 3 stories here, 2 of which are what truly freaked me out, and one thing that is a scary thing, but was kind of fun at the same time. So let me start with the 2 scary things here. So the roller coasters, I ended up getting into a point where I wanted just to have one coaster per ride. If that meant that people had to wait a long time to ride that one coaster, that's fine. You have to ride the one coaster. And the reason for that is that I have had too many situations happen where there would be 2, 3, 4 coasters per ride, and all of a sudden you get a notice saying that the ride has broken down, brake failure. And when this happens, and one of the roller coasters is in active motion, they would crash in the back of one of the other coasters that are stationary. And this flipped me the fuck out as a kid, because it was not so much that they just like, oh, it crashed, it's broken. No. They have the most dramatic explosions that, for me as a kid, now if you probably look at it, it's like, oh, this is not that bad. But for me, it was so scary. And let me see if I have a video here. If I can see if maybe so there's this thing called Crazy Crashes. I think they purposely are making some wild situations here with this, but you can at least see, you hear the noise and you see the animation of this explosion, and then what made it worse too was the notification on the bottom that would show up in gray and red that would just be like, your ride has crashed. And it completely, as a child, completely tortured me because I was like, I did not want to be responsible for the deaths of many, and I also was just traumatized by loud noises scared me as a kid. I hated fire drills all my life. They would show up out of nowhere and it would fuck me up. You know,
this is sadistic.
What I just shared.
Yeah.
The rides. Yeah, no. This is whoever really likes watching the crashes. Which, hey, no judgment. I get it. But yeah. So that just gives you an idea of like the animation and stuff. So that's that, right? So that's the roller coasters. But if you had to think, like, let me just pull the room real quick. If you had, for those who don't know this game as well. When you think of tame rides, what do you think of?
I like the teacup
merry-go-round.
Ah, Matt, merry-go-round, thank you.
Yeah.
See, you would think a merry-go-round would be totally okay, right? You would think that, oh, it just spins around in circles, and it's fine, right? Let me show you something.
Okay.
So I don't think that the event that happens in this video is real per se. You know what? No, I'll start with this. This kind of shows it in poor quality, but essentially what happens at one point is that the merry-go-round breaks down. But when it breaks down, I don't know what the specific breakdown notice is. I forget what that is. But it actually says there, control failure. And what happens is that the merry-go-round starts going really, really fast.
Oh, look at it go.
And the only thing that made it worse was that it would only do that if the music was playing, because the added effect with this thing breaking down is that the music would go super fast and go completely, like, out of whack, sadistic sounding. And that would freak me out. The ride would go so fast to a point that it starts vibrating. Like, why? Why would it do this? Why would they implement something like this? Then there's this video, which blows my mind. I don't think this is real. I think someone animated it, but I guess if you don't, maybe there is something in the game, in Rollercoaster Tycoon 2, where if you don't repair this, that the merry-go-round explodes?
I do remember that in the control failure one, though, that there was an instance that somebody dies.
Maybe that's what they're showing here.
But I don't know about the explosion one. I just know that for the merry-go-round control failure, they would actually say that, like, X amount of people died because the merry-go-round went out of control.
Like, what the shit?
Some context, too, for this last clip. Marcel Voss does a lot of Rollercoaster Tycoon, like, mechanics videos.
Okay.
So he probably made this video just to show that a merry-go-round could explode and how you could get that to happen. He also does stuff like you can make this really easy-looking maze that park people can't solve because they're really bad at not turning left.
I wish I can find like a better quality video to really show this off, because it is so insane. There's this mega compilation that's an hour long, but I think you could probably just bounce around this clip here. Anyways, just for the listening audience here, I love this game. It meant that Rollercoaster Tycoon means a lot to me, to my childhood. It was this game for CD-ROM. It was like the Freddy Fish, Putt Putt, Pajama Sam. It was Pet Shop that we discovered, that we remember the other day, Kels.
Oh, I love Pet Shop.
Yeah, so that we had there's a lot of PC game, CD-ROM games that really shaped my childhood, Rollercoaster Tycoon being a main one. But I had to do two things to make sure that I would have a easy experience, and that was making sure that there was one car for a roller coaster, and making sure that the music was off for the merry-go-round, because for some reason if the music is off, that control failure thing does not happen. And I find that very strange. The fun thing I was going to talk about that would be considered scary, but it was fun, and I think Kelsey, you partook in this as well, was picking up the guests and dropping them into water.
Oh yeah, you would drown people. Yeah.
Yeah, and drown people. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great
you can do
time
that in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when the merry-go-round freaked out, at least maybe it was the first time that it happened for you, you literally had such a meltdown as a young child that you ran up the stairs crying because our computer was in the basement, and that mom banned you from the game for a little while because you had such a meltdown over it.
That's fair.
And she was like, I have an explicit memory of mom looking at you and being like, the merry-go-round what? Like, why are you upset? Like, what is happening? And she just was so fed up that she was just like, don't play it because I don't even understand what's going on. Just stop. You're done. You're done. You're not playing it anymore. And then I had to explain it to her because she still didn't understand. And it was like, I felt very bad for you because you were really, really stressed out.
I was stressed by it. It was very scarring. Any thoughts from anyone else on this whole ordeal?
I had some similar issues in terms of the drowning people that I was also a little bit freaked out about.
Yeah.
But I just stopped playing after that.
I just found a YouTube video that somebody made that they called it Rollercoaster Tycoon 2 Genocide, drowning 9,561 guests at once. And they essentially, like, must have lured people to a sidewalk platform over water and then, like, cut them off from the exits and entrances, so it became just, like, a square of a platform that they were all walking on, and many of them had balloons. And then they, like, rapid fire went in with the editor tool and took the sidewalk away. So they all fell into the water, but then all of their balloons just slowly started to drift up to the sky. It's, like, really fucked up to watch. And it, like, all of the notifications pop up at the bottom so fast that they all died that it's, like, hard to see what's going on. And then he starts to just, like, pop the balloons as they float up. What is this? Like, it's so, like, it's a minute-long video. And then it just, like, he does it, and he just like, kind of plays with the balloons a little bit, and then it just ends, and it's over. And I'm like, wow, okay. Cool,
like,
cool.
I would be curious how crazy that you could get in Planet Coaster with some stuff like this, because I don't know if the merry-go-round's gonna break down like it did in Rollercoaster Tycoon, but I wonder if, like, the coasters crash, if that's going to be a crazy animation, or if you can pick up people and drown them. Like, I would be curious if that's something you can do in Planet Coaster.
You can pick people up, but I've never tried placing them in water. I guess I can try.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
I mean, I don't care. I kind of think it's funny. Like, I don't, because it's not real, and it's like, I don't know. This is probably why
it's real to me.
No, I know, but I just meant, like, do you remember, as an aside, really quick? Do you remember that if you named your character certain things, they would do special features? So, like, if you named one Chris Sawyer, he would walk around with a camera and take pictures.
Oh no, I did not know that.
No,
that's cool.
You did. We did it together. You don't remember?
No.
Oh, okay. Cool.
No, I forget.
My most cherished childhood memory, but it's fine.
No, I have a vague memory of that. It was not like I forget what the different names were that we ended up naming.
I only remember
what
Chris Sawyer
the different
one.
actions were.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
Quick shout out on the video Kelsey shared about drowning 9,561 guests. I want to give the honorary crown to this comment that says, Vegeta, what does the news ticker say about the death toll?
I don't get that reference at all.
It's over 9,000.
Fuck me! Oh,
this entire chunk of the podcast is literally the entire plot of Final Destination 3.
Hey man, that's intriguing. Now I need to look into that.
It is very hard to watch.
Yeah, it was hard to watch all this happen as a kid.
Oh my god! Really quick, just because now I'm in, like, a deep dive of little imagery, and I promise that this is just gonna go really good. Do you remember in Rollercoaster Tycoon that the people, like, that you'd see the guests' faces, and depending on, like, their mood or what was going on, like, if they were happy, they had a big grin on their face.
Oh my god.
And then if they were angry, they were, like, red with, like, a real, like, ugh.
Yes.
And then if they
that
were
scared
sick,
me too.
When they were feeling sick, like, if they got off a ride that was really, like, too fast or something, that they would look green and they would puke on the ground if you didn't have, like, a bench available for them. Somebody made a needle point of all the faces, and it's like they like created a pattern for it, so you can download it and do it yourself if you wanted to.
The angry
would
face
scare me.
Would scare the crap out of me.
I would be like, I get like anxious and upset if people are mad. Like, to me, angry is dangerous. And so, like, in the game, if their guests were mad, it would, like, I'd drown them. I would drown them.
Jesus.
Oh.
Because I didn't want to have to, like, I was
cater
like,
to their needs.
Well, no, not even that. I just was like, you're scaring me. So you go in the nap pool. And you take a nap.
The nap pool. Wow, Jesus Christ.
All right, guys, whatever. Don't judge me.
No, I love it. I appreciate it. Two really small things real quick. Another roller coaster game that I played on PlayStation 2 called Theme Park Roller Coaster. Played that. And when my park was not doing well, all of a sudden it would cut and it would be this very dramatic cutscene of the camera moving out of the park and the gates loudly closing and a lock coming on it, being like, the park is permanently closed or whatever because you didn't do the mission. And that scared me as a kid. That fucked me up.
Wow.
And then in terms of just games that scared me in terms of experiences, I just finished Deathloop yesterday, and that was so stressful, that game, and that gave me a lot of anxiety, but I loved it. It was a very good game. To me, like, in terms of games, that anything that involves me putting myself into serious danger is I will immediately spark the, oh my god, I need to get out of here in some capacity, please. And that's kind of the vibes that Deathloop kind of gave me throughout. It's not not a lot of other people would have that reaction to that game. It did for me, at least. But yeah, that's some honorable mentions for games that scare us. But for now, we move on to our last game. And everyone's talking about Metroid Dread. All right, we got this big old game that came out, but we need to first go back to, I believe this was the last 2D Metroid game. Am I correct? Prior
the last
to Dread?
2D Metroid in canonical order. There was a Metroid 2 remake after that in 2017, but
I see.
Besides that, the last 2D Metroid game was in 2001.
Yeah, but we're gonna go to the one that canonically was before Dread, because we'll talk about Dread later. But for now, we're talking about Metroid Fusion. Gabe, take it away.
Fuck, I gotta hurry.
Wait, for real?
No. Well, no. While she's saying for himself that he has to hurry because of his drawing he's doing. But you take your time, Gabe.
Take your time.
Oh, okay. Well, with Metroid Fusion, Metroid Fusion was actually my first Metroid game that I ever played. I first played it on my 3DS back in the day, when the Ambassador program was a thing, and that was a little reward that you would get for purchasing the 3DS at launch before the price cut, as like a showing of, like, hey, you're loyal, you deserve something for basically being skimped, like $70. So we got like 10 NES games and 10 GBA games, and Metroid Fusion was one of them. And at that point, I had heard of Metroid at that time. Like, I used to watch like videos of Super Metroid. I remember this, like, just this moment, watching videos of like Torian in the end game of Metroid, Super Metroid. and just being enamored by the final boss and like, oh, this looks awesome, I want to play Metroid. And then I was finally able to, and that game kind of fucked me up when I was a kid. Now, the premise of the game is that Samus, after eradicating all the Metroids on their home planet, their prey, the X parasites, were able to take over without any like predator to go against them, and they ended up like just spreading across the planet. And Samus, being the bounty hunter, gets commissioned by the Galactic Federation to like check up on the planet with a few of their fleet soldiers, and she does that, and she gets attacked by the X, and which ends up like going into her central nervous system and just embedding itself into her, and she nearly died. However, when she was about to like die, the Galactic Federation ended up making a vaccine, but in this case it's more like a CRISPR. It's like something that can like change genetic code, where they injected it into her, and then she ended up living, and because her DNA ended up getting rewritten with Metroid DNA, and she became part Metroid. So she was able to like consume these parasites like by absorbing them into her body, and that's like the premise of the game. Just fighting the X, making sure that the research station that you're exploring is like contained, and one of the main antagonists of the game is an X clone of Samus called the SAX, where it is Samus at full power, except it is a killing machine that will not stop until whatever predator or whatever threat to them is dead, because their species is all about self-preservation. So they ended up like just going after whatever was in their way to preserve their species. Now, when I was a kid, and like I say this was like in 2013, 2012. I know the 3DS came out. Well, I ended up this is kind of hard judging the time frame, but I was in like early high school when I first played it, and oh no, not early. It was like late middle school or early high school when I first played it, and that game fucked with me because at that time I was kind of like going through like an identity crisis, and the whole like, oh, a copy of you is trying to hunt you down, and it's like basically yourself at your peak while you are extremely vulnerable in the state that you are, because in the game Samus takes a ton of damage from any enemy that touches her. And it's not until she gets her upgrades that she becomes like actually good to play as. The game isn't bad at all. The game is actually quite good. It's just the beginning of the game is extremely difficult to those who are new with the series, because it is very punishing, like taking damage from enemies, and the whole deal with like the game is purposefully making you feel that vulnerable because Samus is literally the weakest she's ever been, and it's making her like rethink how things were compared to how they are now. Like there is some like inner monologue dialogue that Samus talks about during specific cutscenes. And it's just like that kind of messed with me as a kid, because I was like, it was like a very sensitive part of my life, but I don't want to get too deep into it because it is like trauma dumping, so I don't want to do that.
Sure.
But okay. After playing through the game, it actually fascinated me, because I wasn't exactly sure why. It was more like, hey, this is kind of good, and like the story no longer messed with me. It just kind of captivated me, and ended up becoming my favorite Metroid game until Dread. I'm kind of stuck between the two. Yeah, I'm just kind of stuck between the two at the moment. I'm probably going to come up with a decision like as the weeks come, because Metroid Dread it's been out for like 4 days, and it just
you're newly out of it. It's hard to kind of make that like definitive idea of it, idea of where it's ranked.
Despite me having played through the game twice.
Yeah. It's wild.
My first run through was like, oh, I want to experience the game first, and then my second run through was 100% run through. So it was about 18 hours throughout the first 3 days of launch. So that was fun, but just the concept of being so vulnerable, despite having like you being at your peak, really stuck with me because of how good of a plot it is to use is like a foil for a character that's usually known for being extremely powerful, and that's like my whole thing with the plot of Metroid Dread. No, Metroid Fusion, and plus like in the game the SAX literally hunts you down during certain sections, and it's very intense, especially with the music that they use and like the ambiance that they set. It's very good, and I know like not everyone gets easily intimidated, but at that point in time I was like, oh, really creeped out by anything, but it was extremely good, and I feel like it's a very good use of like environmental storytelling.
Definitely.
So that's like my whole deal with Fusion, and with Dread having done what it did, it's I'd say that it's very fitting, but I won't say much else other than that.
Who here has played Fusion?
I love Metroid Fusion.
Yes, hit us with it, Anthony.
This game is so good. I'm glad that you remarked about the sound design, because this game was released a long time ago, like maybe 2004 or something. It
was like 2001 because the game was like 20 years ago. So.
Oh wow! Holy crap! Okay, the sequences you talked about where SAX is like actively hunting you, they do this thing that caught me off guard when I was younger.
Just to clarify real quick, November 18th, 2002 is when
2002. Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. But so this thing's hunting you, and it's walking around the room that you're in, and it has a flashlight, and you're just sitting there like, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap. It has points where it will leave the room and then walk back in. And if you don't know that the first time around, it's going to murder you. So you need to sit there and you need to listen for the footsteps and count and see when it's at its furthest point away so that you can quickly run out. That is so cool, especially for the time it was made. And the sense of progression, like getting powerful, reclaiming all of your gear, incredibly palpable. Like you are a force when you're back at full strength. Just really incredible. And that plays into the plot too. Just one of my favorite Metroidvania games, without a doubt.
It's really weird hearing Metroid be called the Metroidvania.
I mean, like today, people like action, like it's like something like actions. It has something to do with like it's like calling it Metroidvania without using those specific games. And
fill in the map side scrollers.
Yeah, fill in the map side scrollers. Get power ups, like just get stronger. But people have started like breaking away from that because there hasn't been like a 2D Castlevania or Metroid for so long, and Bloodstain doesn't count because it's not Castlevania. But
it is made by the producer.
I know. It's just it doesn't have the name.
It's so good though. Have you played it?
I played it. I have played it, and it is amazing.
Good.
It's just it's not Castlevania. It's Castlevania, but it's not by the name. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, this is with each discussion regarding Metroid, it makes me want to play it less. but that is not to say anything about the game. It is just not my game. It is just not my thing. But I for what Metroid did, and especially like the fact that a whole genre is named after Metroid is just kind of goes to show you like what Metroid has done since its first game. And hearing about Fusion there and hearing that this people stalking you around almost and hunting you down is just like it's so intimidating. Because not to talk about Deathloop again, because that's kind of the feeling in Deathloop as well, because there is a point in that game where at random points you will be told that like you play as Colt, and then there's someone named Juliana who will hunt you down at random points of the game, and you'll get notified like, all right, she's on the hunt. And I literally shit my pants, like waiting, like having to like sit there with only my knife, waiting for her to show up and shoot me down. Like so like the idea of being in that's in like daylight. Now picture me in a Metroid game in like the dark rooms, dark intimidating aesthetic that is Metroid. Having to sit and wait for someone to hunt me down and hoping to just either run away from them or shoot them down myself, like it just god, that intimidates the fuck out of me so bad. But it's such a shame when you think about like how Metroid over the years hasn't really performed well in terms of like sales, like, but it has such a massive fan base and there are such good games. And I think maybe part of the reason why it doesn't sell well is because it's not a Nintendo like game. Nintendo like games tend to be like these family oriented games that are welcoming for everyone, and Metroid is very much like no. Like I'm sure a lot of people can get into it, but it is a hard sell for people who don't really love shooters, and especially for shooters, and like the idea of like monsters chasing you down and like a very intimidating world. Like I could see where for people it's a harder thing to want to buy into compared to a Mario or a Zelda. But it's, I don't know. I'm hoping that with Dread, that this series we can continue to see some of these really fascinating 2D games, and obviously we'll see what Prime ends up being when that comes out. But for what you're saying about Metroid Fusion, it just sounds like a wild time.
Just speaking about its success. Metroid Dread in its first like 2 days of launch has done better than the entire month of September's sales of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So
that's wild. That's great to hear.
With Mario Kart 8 Deluxe being as popular as it is and selling as many copies, virtually as many copies as there are Switch consoles, it's really amazing to hear how like it's doing so well. And like with its current sales, it has already outsold Metroid Samus Returns by like 3.5 million or so.
Wow.
That's wild, and that's so good. Like it needed it, and this series deserves to have to hit those like wild sales numbers, because I think it's so good when companies that are known for specific things stray from the norm, and that's coming from someone that loves the Mario, loves the Animal Crossing, loves the cutesy games from Nintendo more than Metroid. But I respect and love the fact that they do want to keep this series alive. They do want to keep it around. There's rumors for years about this Metroid trilogy that might come out at one point. There's and then of course you have Metroid Prime. Like the fact that they're still willing to kind of keep this series around, like it shows that they want it to succeed. And so like the fact that you already are seeing like those results from Dread, like that's fantastic. That's good to hear. All right. Well then, Walsh, how are you?
I just finished the drawing. I just added the final touches, just put the blush on. I added a little bit of background color so that I think the pores really show, you know? And I will, for the court, now repeat the words, which were voluptuous, hairy, porous, moist, colorful, bubbly, rigid, modern, concubescent, and robotic.
Okay.
It is so quiet. I feel like everybody's like on the edge of their seat. Right.
Yeah,
We are.
Really,
Okay.
we're anticipating what is about to happen here.
So, I drew a shark robot.
Okay.
Okay.
And if you guys could help me name this new Halloween creature, I would absolutely love it.
Oh, I
Whoa,
love them.
nice.
Meredith.
I adore them.
So, a few things you can immediately see. You know, I tried to take the porous thing in a separate direction. So,
Yeah.
a lot of the limbs, like the arms and the legs, they have direct holes through them to still add in this kind of metallic and rigid vibe. And the fact that they are still robotic, giving them still a modern feel. And, you know what, Kelsey? I absolutely love that.
Yeah, I agree.
Mary
Perfect.
Death,
Alright,
but pronounced
Kelsey, can you repeat what you said in the chat?
So
there?
the name that I threw out right away was Meredith, but spelt Mary, Merry, Death, Death. So
I love
our
that.
monster's name is Meredith, but spelt like Mary Death.
Mary Depth.
Can I just say we just gave you a new D&D character to play with.
So, and I wanted to take bubbly in both directions. Not only do I think that Meredith has a very bubbly personality, but I think that they also can breathe underwater. So you see the bubbles there. Concubescent.
Digging the handcuffs.
Thank you.
About to mention those.
Just about to mention those as well. I think you can
Yeah.
see the slight blush and the handcuffs in the hand. I put the key in the other hand, so you know what's
Yeah.
up, you know?
Wow.
You know, tried to keep with the bubbliness, the moistness, you know, very long hair down the back, all different colors of the gay spectrum that only gay people can see. And so if you can see all the colors, then I have news for you.
Wait a minute.
Shit.
Yeah.
Happy
But-
National Coming Out Day.
Yay. But
True.
yeah, and you know what? Being gay is really in right now, so I'd say that's pretty modern.
True. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is a new Halloween creature. I want to say that the scary part is that at first you are it's almost like tragic, really, is you are, you know, kind of pulled in with all these promises of a lustful time, but then you are pulled into the ocean to have them, and they accidentally drown you.
Oh.
Oh, Rollercoaster Tycoon, full circle. Full circle.
There you go. I was actually
felt
gonna
like-
say too.
I felt like there
I-
needed to be like a danger here because it is a Halloween monster.
Boo.
Yeah, but I feel like Meredith doesn't mean to drown you.
No,
You know?
oh no, not at all.
Yeah. I think that Meredith wants to have a good time, but just, you know, accidentally
Yeah.
murders her.
And that only happens most of the time.
Yeah.
Not all the
yeah. Mm.
How she
No,
doesn't
like
rust,
legit.
no one knows.
What did you say?
How she doesn't rust, no one knows.
Oh, I thought that you said that she doesn't have a nose.
I thought that too.
I really want to see Meredith again. I hope that this isn't the last time we see Meredith. But very, very nice job, Walsh. Good job. That was like a half hour's work right there.
Thank you.
You did a very good job.
And I tried to keep with like sketchier lines so it feels like almost crayon drawn.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yeah, it's very good. It's very good.
3D Castle.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Even fuller circle, though. Thank you all so much for listening. We will be back next month. Our next month's topic is games we believe are underrated. All right?
Okay.
So, games that you think that, general public doesn't give enough credit. All right, could be just a game that maybe you feel like you're the only person that knows this game exists. Maybe you just have a handful of people that you feel like are into the game, but just generally games that you feel are underrated. And with that being said, thank you all so much for tuning in. Game on. The Gaming Coop is brought to you by Team Chaos Productions. Follow us on Twitter at The Gaming Coop, or follow our other work at Team Chaos Pods.